Good morning, everybody. So this dining review is definitely overdue, but I have now had two absolutely phenomenal meals at Tiffins in Animal Kingdom. So let's get started. Tiffins is a signature restaurant located in the Discovery Island section of Animal Kingdom, just before the bridge crossing into Pandora World of Avatar. And right from the start, this restaurant is so immersive and you definitely do not feel like you're in a theme park anymore. This restaurant is divided into three main dining rooms, which they call galleries, and they are just that. They are full of different art and artifacts from all over the world to kind of tell the story of the Imagineers and animal scientists in the development of Animal Kingdom. The first dining room you come across is the Grand Gallery, and this gallery kind of reflects on some of the folk influences that have led to the design of Disney's Animal Kingdom. The second dining room you come to is actually the one that I've eaten both times I've been to Tiffins, and that is the Safari Gallery. And this gallery represents the adventures of the Imagineers and animal scientists as they explore the different towns and savannas of eastern and southern Africa to collect the details that give rise to Harambe in Disney's Animal Kingdom. The last dining room is the Trek Gallery, and this one kind of represents the different adventures of Imagineers and animal scientists as they traveled throughout South Asia, from Bali to the Himalayas, to create the world of Anandapur in the Asia section of Disney's Animal Kingdom. The food here may be some of the best food I've ever had, let alone a Disney property. And both of my visits here, I wanted to try something that was brand new, so to kind of just taste my way throughout the whole menu, and I definitely was not disappointed at all. So first things first is the bread for the table. It's a little bit different here. They have a pomegranate focaccia served with an olive oil and pomegranate infused molasses mixture, and the olive oil is supposedly from Lebanon. The molasses aspect is interesting. It's rather sour, so a little bit of that does go a long way. But overall, very nice, just kind of start to the meal, very enjoyable bread. So starting with the appetizers, on my first visit here, which was the weekend of the 50th anniversary, I wanted to try one of their specialty 50th anniversary appetizers, which they still currently have and probably will have throughout the 18-month long celebration. And it was the honey chili glazed pork belly served with chorizo and midnight moon cheese biscuit, a quail egg, and tasso gravy. The biscuit was super cheesy and buttery. It was not dry at all. The quail egg was perfectly poached and added a nice kind of bit of variety to the dish. Kind of reminded me of the bacon and eggs dish at Steakhouse 71. A little bit different though. The pork belly itself was very flavorful. I'm kind of on the sweet side, but not overly sweet, but definitely enjoyed that one. It was toned down nicely by the rest of the dish, and overall was not very spicy at all. The other appetizer I tried here was actually a sampling of two. So the duo appetizers is served with a smaller portion of the charred octopus, which is served with a grilled corn salsa, mole negro, pickles, and cilantro, and then a spiced chickpea falafel, which is served with a mint pistachio pesto, cumin-scented garlic raita, and pickled vegetables. The octopus here was by far the winner. I wasn't really sure what to expect going into it. I've had like calamari stuff before, never really had charred octopus, and I love this so much. Highly recommend it. I would get a full portion of this one for myself. Was phenomenal. The texture I would say is very similar to that of like shrimp. Wasn't overly chewy. It was perfectly cooked. And the flavors of the mole negro and everything with it added a nice smokiness aspect to it as well. The chickpea falafel was also very good and soft and flavorful, and the sauces that went with that were also very nice to kind of go with the whole dish. But I do think that of the appetizers I've had here, this is probably the weakest one. I would just go with the charred octopus next time. So as for my entrees, there is one dish here that I have heard so many people rave about that I figured I had to try it for myself, and that is the butter chicken. So the butter chicken here is served with a chickpea rice croquette, English peas, cauliflower, and pickled onion. And this dish honestly left me speechless. It is such a simple dish, but the sauce was so absolutely incredible, so flavorful. It tasted like homemade. The spices in it just blended so nicely together, so creamy. This isn't the typical presentation of butter chicken though. Usually it's like kind of stewed in the sauce, where this is just like the chicken breast topped with the sauce and then has some extra vegetables for like pops of color. I thought it worked very nicely though. It did not overpower the dish at all with the sauce. But yeah, overall phenomenal. Would get this again and again for sure. It is a bit on the smaller side though, so keep that in mind. The portions at Tiffins in general are kind of on the smaller side. I definitely did not leave hungry, but compared to other Disney restaurants, they are smaller portions, so something definitely to keep in mind. The other entree that I tried was the tamarind braised short rib, and this was served with a potato parsnip puree, cauliflower, cipollini onion, and a medjool date vinaigrette. And this was also very incredible. The short rib was so tender that it fell apart with just on my fork. The sauce was nice and flavorful as well, smoky and sweet from the tamarind. The parsnip puree was rather interesting. I was surprised it was a bit sweeter than I expected it to be. By looking at it, I would have thought it was going to be similar to like mashed potatoes, but it was on the sweeter side. I don't really know what else to compare it to. I've not had a parsnip puree before, so it might be on the sweeter side. But yeah, this was definitely sweeter than mashed potatoes, so that kind of caught me off guard. But overall, this was very good. I do think between the two, I still 100% prefer the butter chicken. I just was so blown away by that dish. That was my first impression at the restaurant, and that one's going to be hard to beat. But I will continue to try my way through the menu on future visits as well. So for dessert, both times I've been to Tiffins, I actually got a specialty dessert. So the first one being for the 50th anniversary, and this was a 50th celebration cinnamon chocolate gateau served with an almond praline, white chocolate cremeux, ganache, and chocolate amarula sauce. The gold nuggets that are kind of in the picture are coconut and chocolate mixed together. The cookie crumbles on the bottom are mixed with ancho chili, which that definitely caught me off guard. It was rather spicy. I expected it to just be like crushed up, like Oreo basically crumbles. But no, those had a kick. So those definitely caught me off guard. Very, very good though. The chocolate sauce used for like the little Mickey head and in the cake itself was the amarula cream, which was so incredibly rich and just added another layer to this dessert that I 100% appreciated. The presentation of this whole plate was beautiful. Like just the chocolate dusting of the map on the plate was gorgeous. Kind of across the board of this restaurant, all the plating is just a work of art, in addition to just the works of art on the walls in the restaurant. Like this restaurant is just incredible. I was blown away by my experiences here, and this easily jumped into my top restaurants on Disney property, but I'll get to that at the end. Digging into the cake itself, it was so incredibly rich. So on the inside, it was the amarula cream kind of chocolate sauce mixed with a Peruvian mousse that was just so delectable. 100% this is a chocolate lover's dream. Now the other dessert that I got was actually for Christmas, and it was the horchata snow globe mousse. And this was golden coffee cremeux, a gingerbread sable, coriander chantilly, bourbon caramel, and candied pecans. And when this dish came out, it looked so cute. Flavor-wise, if you haven't had horchata before, it's kind of like a cinnamon rice milk. Flavor-wise, could be kind of compared to like an eggnog, but not quite as thick and eggy as eggnog would be. This dessert, though, was just so creamy and just tasted like holiday on a plate. I love horchata. I loved the flavors happening here. The presentation, like I said before, was just phenomenal, so cute. Consistency was kind of between like a cheesecake and a mousse, so kind of not as dense as a cheesecake, but not as fluffy as a mousse that I expected to be, being a horchata mousse. But overall, still very, very good. The only hard thing about this one was that the snow globe aspect to it, the top, was so pretty that I didn't want to crack it. But of course, I had to crack it to try everything out. So very, very thick sugar coating on the snow globe, but it made the dessert kind of fun just to kind of crack that and have like more surprises inside. There were like different sponge cake and the gingerbread sable cookie at the bottom. Overall, very well-rounded dessert. Between these two desserts though, for me, being a chocolate fan myself, the 50th celebration chocolate gateau, you need to try that if you are a chocolate fan. It is a chocolate lover's dream and you will not be disappointed. Just beware of the spicy cookie crumbles. I did try a cocktail the first time I went here, and that was the Tempting Tigress, and this was Russell's Reserve 10-year bourbon, St. Elizabeth allspice dram, tamarind syrup, and lime juice. Now I don't remember too much about it. I do remember that I did enjoy it quite a bit, and it reminded me of like an old-fashioned, just with a little bit different twist to it. The tamarind syrup I remember giving kind of a sweeter aspect to it and a unique aspect, but overall I did like it. I'll have to try it again though for a full review. And at the end of the meal, I was presented with the check and a little keepsake card. So apparently there are 6 of these little cards. So I got the honey badger, and on the back it kind of gives a little story about it. So it says, during our many research trips to Africa since 1991, only one animal has ever actually attacked a safari vehicle. It was this creature, a honey badger, more or less an African version of a wolverine. At the time, nobody had heard of honey badgers, whereas now they are a famous internet meme. Despite the fact that this smelly, furious creature completely terrified us, we fell in love with it, and it became our mascot during the construction of Disney's Animal Kingdom. We even had stickers made for our hard hats. The honey badger has no fear, it believes it can do anything, it takes on challenges that seem completely impossible, and then miraculously accomplishes them. These values appeal to us, and so to this day we think fondly of the honey badger and all it can teach us. It does say Rhodey, so potentially could be like Joe Rhodey's drawings of these animals. I don't know the other 5 animals, but there are supposedly 6 of these cards, so kind of adds a nice little fun aspect to like try to collect them all. I did ask the waiter if they had additional ones that they could hand out, but they only had this one in stock at the time. So be sure to check that out if you are interested in collecting those little animal cards. For me, this restaurant has easily jumped into the top 3, if not top 2. I do still think that with California Grill being more sentimental now, that's going to be my number 1 always. But this one might have just jumped over Gico. So have not tried Gico since it has reopened, but as of right now, I think this is my number 2 restaurant on property. Without a doubt, I thought everything here was absolutely incredible. There was nothing that I ever tried that I just did not like. There were things I liked better than others, but nothing here was bad by any means. So highly recommend checking it out. I love the theming of this restaurant and just how it just carries throughout the whole meal, from the time you walk in the door through like the hand-carved wooden door to the time you get a little honey badger card when you're paying your bill. Like, just the whole experience is so immersive. And both times now when I walked out of the restaurant, I was kind of a little disoriented because you don't feel like you're in a theme park at all when you're in the restaurant, and it muffles the sound so well. So you open the door, it's bright, there's people walking by, it's loud. It kind of takes a little bit to readjust and get oriented with that, oh, I'm actually in Animal Kingdom right now, so hang on a second. But I do love the theming of this restaurant. I like how it kind of pays homage to the Imagineers and the designing of Animal Kingdom. I feel like this is a Disney fan, like Disney World fan restaurant, just because it kind of goes the Imagineering route and the history of the park itself, which is really cool to do for a restaurant. And to have the food be that incredible on top of that, I could not ask for anything else. This restaurant is fantastic. The only downside of this restaurant, though, is it is on the pricey side. It is a signature restaurant, so definitely something to keep in mind, and it is in the park, so you can't just go here without a park reservation or a park ticket. So that kind of limits the aspects to it a little bit, but still, if you are in Animal Kingdom and you have time to spare, definitely worth a trip over to Tiffins for lunch or dinner or whatever you would enjoy. Now, I will say that Hannah has not been here yet. I'm very excited to take you here very soon, and we'll be sure to give a full review of both of our experience there when we do that. So stay tuned for that video. But that will do it for my little review of Tiffins here. Let me know in the comments down below if you have tried Tiffins before and what you liked, or if this video convinced you to try it on a future trip. And be sure to let me know what you want us to do and review for our next video. So that will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you real soon.